Hi, I'm Mike McCormick here at GBTA Studios live in Toronto, and I'm here with Ken Nicolaine from Newland Chase. Thank you for joining me here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike.
So let's talk about the issues facing Canada and our industry. We've got a lot of, let's say, potential changes around inbound immigration, right, as debates continue about NAFTA. What can we expect? What's on the horizon here?
You know, and we've been following this really closely, and obviously we've got a lot of clients that are very concerned about this.
Right.
But at present, you know, the read we're getting is not likely to be significant changes to immigration policy under NAFTA.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, well, I'll say that with a caveat, right? Because we've seen from the current U.S. administration that there's been a lot of fluctuations and certainly a lot of saber rattling, as I mentioned. But you know, in the end, I don't think we're going to see notable changes, particularly if they're trying to push through a tentative agreement sometime by June, and you know, we're hearing that that's something that's in the wings. Right. You know, so if that's the case, they're not really going to have a whole lot of opportunity to make significant changes to the program. So what we are counseling some of our clients, though, that are more conservative, is to potentially look at doing earlier renewals for individuals they've got that are in sensitive roles that are in under NAFTA. Right. Just as a bit of protection move, just in case something does get triggered. But ultimately, there's still a 6-month window if there is a change. So you know, I think things should be fairly much status quo. I think they've got other things they're more concerned about in the immigration side for Canada anyways.
And what might that be?
Yeah, pick one. I think initially around the labor side, they're a lot more concerned with Mexico, from what I've seen. I think you've also got all the trade situations, right? So I mean, the automobile sector is a primary consideration, softwood, and the list goes on. So yeah, I don't think immigration is going to be a huge concern this time around. I think the challenge that might be if things slide past June, there's nothing tentative, and we start moving towards an agreement not being done until 2019, and then you might see some changes because now you've got some different demographics on possibly, you know, all three countries.
Right. Well, so for the business travel professionals, the buyers here in the room, you know, what should they be thinking about? What tools should they be using with all this to help them?
No, and one of the things that I would suggest that we're seeing is that not just NAFTA, but just the general protectionist policy programs that you're seeing around the world. You know, you're seeing a closing of borders, tightening of programs, tightening of processes. And you're not always seeing it strictly through legislation, but you're seeing it through operational. So you know, instructions to the CBSA as an example.
Stronger enforcement.
Yeah, you know, so people are challenged a lot more when they come in. So I would suggest that, you know, one of the things the companies need to look at are tools that give them stronger initial assessments, making sure that they're as compliant as possible. And that's a key area of focus for us. You know, we're obsessed with knowledge management, making sure we're current in processes around the globe, ensuring that with our clients, and we have tools that help very quickly assess what an individual is likely to need, you know, and then taking that through the consulting process, But it's really ensuring that that compliance factor is done, that your travelers are very well versed on what they may be facing when they're crossing the border and how they're coming into the country.
Yeah, I don't think people appreciate, too, how dynamic it all is until they have an issue or a problem, and then they realize, like you said, it's not just the policies, the laws themselves, but it's like how, let's say, strict or strongly they're being enforced at any given point, given time, depending on what's happening in the marketplace.
Well, I think the other wrinkle is that I don't think people really understand how much latitude the individual officers have. And also, I think there's a general expectation that, you know, a policy change may be enacted and that the entire system and all the officers are going to know it cold. Well, the reality is they may not. A lot of times the policy will come out and it may be a lag to certain officers, or they may be interpreted differently. You know, so again, having a provider that can give you a lot of support, you know, as you're doing those crossings is really helpful.
And as always, preparation is key, before you travel.
Yeah, and having a strong travel package. So if you are crossing, particularly if you have a work permit that's in order, I think you want a lot of documentation and you want a very clear package, and you want to go through that with your providers so they understand what's going on.
Well, and in the global economy, you know, people are traveling to places more and more, and in places they likely wouldn't have traveled before necessarily,
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the things, particularly in Canada, that we've seen is a lot of companies that we've been dealing with were, you know, previously they would have had a lot more inbound, but now also doing a lot more outbound because they're exploring opportunities around the globe, new markets, and that's new challenges,
Well, thank you for your insight. Interesting times, as they say, as always,
Yeah, I think that's a Chinese threat. You live in interesting times.
It is. Well, we do, but at the same time,
it's exciting.
It is exciting as well.
Ken,
thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
And I'm Mike McCormick, live from GBTA Studios here in Toronto.